time for a quick update about my book. I mentioned that I was going to ask my wife to read it. She's now read it cover to cover. And I wanted to get a small amount of like feedback in terms of like any tweaks, editing, things that don't make sense, and also just her general thoughts on it. Was it easy to follow, etc. And I'm feeling quite positive about it because she certainly said it held her attention, and I think was fairly complimentary about how it was written. I've got a few notes, a few little things to iron out, and her general thoughts on some of the themes, that sort of thing. I wasn't sort of asking for like really detailed critique, just a kind of general overview of like, is this thing, does it make sense, and is it readable, and just a few little sort of pointers on things where I could work on. So I've already been through the whole book once, just doing a first pass of basic editing. So now I've got a little bit more editing to do, but I don't think that's going to take me too long now. I do need to look at, so this is going to be the first book in a series of books, hopefully. So there's certainly kind of a whole, whole sort of story arc that goes beyond the book, and it does end relatively abruptly, I suppose. But in some ways, that kind of is a good tie into the next book. Maybe I have some tweaks to do here and there, but overall, all pretty good, and all pretty positive. So I've got a beta readership of one at the moment, and now I think I need to kind of think about where I go from here. Once I've done another pass of editing, I think I need to start thinking about the idea of publishing and all that kind of process, really. So that's going to be a whole new world to me. So I guess maybe the next update might be what I'm thinking in terms of how I approach that, and any sort of progress I make on that. And I realise that's going to be a fairly long road. I think I've kind of in my head more or less ruled out the idea of self-publishing. I think I stand the best chance with going down the traditional publishing route with the kind of book it is, the kind of person I am, the kind of sort of author that I am. If you want to use that word, I suppose I can use that word now. I've finished the whole book. It would be nice to be a published author. Not so much necessarily because I think it's going to be a huge success, although I'm really pleased with how it's turned out, but because I want to explore going down that route in terms of something that I do in my life. Then it may be something that is always there in the background, but it may be that if I'm lucky enough, it can come to the fore a little bit more, and I can spend more time doing that. I can invest more time into writing more novels, and kind of exploring that whole side of my creativity. So I'm pretty pleased with where I'm at. It's quite a nice feeling to have had someone read the whole thing. It then feels more real than just finishing writing it, because you know that it's something that can hold someone's attention, and is it's just confirmation that like you've not gone off too much on a downward path that is then kind of a bit irredeemable, because when you're writing, you're just doing it on your own. You're not testing it out necessarily. Perhaps some authors do, but as you go, you want to get to the end of the book and be happy with it before you then hand it over to someone. But at that point, you've done a lot of work up front. You have no idea how it's going to be received. So I think that's yeah, it's quite a good place to be in now that it's been read once by someone that's not me, and I can sort of move on from here, with a bit of purpose, and kind of starting to think even more about this series of books that this is going to fit into, and I've got some different ideas about options of where I take it in terms of the story, but also in terms of the characters and how this book focuses mostly. It's kind of built around one main character, but there are multiple characters in the book, and parts of their story are explained in this, and sort of some of their, the story arc in terms of the different characters is kind of in different places at different times. Towards the end of the book, it's not like everyone's gone through a particular, long story arc. They're all kind of like, there's more to discover about all these different characters. So I have the idea that other books could focus more or less on other characters, and kind of use that as a tool for sort of almost like an anchor for the book, of like coming back to what's going on with this character and how they're developing, and sort of explaining a bit more about the development of their character, what happens to them, where some of the other characters can perhaps take a bit of a backseat, to some extent. So yeah, there's lots of ideas around how that could work. So yeah, I think that's where I'm at for now. And hopefully I'll have another update before not too long. And we can see where I've got to, looking into the whole idea of publishing and how that's going to work. So yeah, that's the update for now.